All right, guys, we're going on to our second video, and this is one of my favorite measures of personality type. This one you would have gotten either an S for sensing or an N for intuitive. And yes, intuitive starts with an I, but they already used I for introvert, so we use N for intuitive. For this particular scale, you're looking at how you process information and how you kind of approach the world in terms of information and even a little bit of, what's the right word I'm trying to say? A little bit of how you see things and how you behave. So a lot of this does have to do with it. There's examples of all of this in how we behave and how we play out with our personality type. But for sensing versus intuitive, the sensing person is usually someone who has an ability to embrace small details. They're often a person who's very comfortable living in the here and now. They're present moment focused. They're able to say, yes, I have big dreams. I want to get a college degree. I want to own my own house someday. I want to travel the world. And they can say those things and put them out there and then kind of let them be, because the place where their focus is in the present moment. So they're really good at doing things like breaking down a goal into small steps so that they can achieve those steps. And they're really good at things like maybe thinking of the small details that, if you're not really a sensing person, is hard to think of. An example that always comes to mind is wedding planning. I'm not an S, I'm an N. And when I was planning my wedding, there were 3 or 4 things that I completely forgot about until maybe like 2 days before. And this was a very small wedding. We had less than 30 people there, but it was little things like I was literally on the plane. We got married in Vermont, and I kind of looked at Brian and said, "So we didn't get any favors. Do you think we should get favors?" And then it became this mad dash to search the internet to see if we could find something cool for favors and order it and have it shipped overnight and all that stuff. So just silliness, but people who are more into details than I am would not have had as hard of a time with that. And think about how that plays out in your life. If you're an S person, what are the areas of your life that you notice that you're really able to focus on the present? And you might also have systems in your life that work really well for you to kind of keep things going. So the sensing person, when I say that it's about how they sort of process information, they're processing information in terms of what I have to do next. So if the information is a goal that they're setting or an idea that they have, then they don't get lost in the idea. They're able to kind of step back and say, great, I'm going to write a book someday, but before I write a book, I need to write the first chapter. And they can focus on sitting down and writing the first chapter. The intuitive person, on the other hand, is a big picture thinker. They are much, much better at the vision kind of work and imagining where something can go. They come up with big ideas and they've got big dreams. The intuitive person could very easily be the person who plans something important for their life, like a wedding or a trip to Australia that you've dreamed about for 5 years, and they get really excited about it and they're pumped and they're going to go and they've got all these ideas in their head of what it's going to be like, and then they go and maybe there's a little feeling of, that was it. And it might be because big picture thinkers build things up in their mind, and then they're disappointed when they actually experience it. Because it was so built up, it didn't reach their expectations. Does this ever happen to you? So the intuitive person processes information. If I go back to that definition of how you process information, they're looking at the big picture part of the information, and it might be harder for them to step back into the present moment. So this is the one that I can relate to. I have a coach who I work with for my writing, and she is probably every few weeks she'll send me a note that says, time to pull in the popcorn brain. And she tells me that I've got popcorn brain because she'll ask me a question, and instead of having a targeted response, I'll have 4 or 5 different things that I could do, and I think of all these ideas and they're all so great, but I really just need to start with one. So the intuitive person is the person who's definitely able to come up with the big ideas and the big pictures, and sometimes they might experience a little bit of letdown. So they're more focused on the future with their thinking, and the sensing person is more focused on the present. The intuitive person is going to have an easy time coming up with the goals and the big idea, but they're going to have a harder time breaking it down into steps to reach the goals. And the sensing person is going to have an easy time making the steps to reach the goals, but might not always have an easy time connecting to the big picture. So I hope that helps. You can read more about that one in your report, and remember to look at your preference scales and to see how much of S is shaded in and how much of N, and you can start thinking about where in life am I a big picture thinker as opposed to a detail person, and chances are you're somewhere in between. You're probably not, all the way one or all the way other. All right, so moving on to the next video. I will see you there.